Oh,
all
just,
the internets. So,
folks, I don't actually know where you're at, but we have just received a warning that the sky is about to open up, that somebody has angered the Godzilla.
nice. We are now live. And hey guys, everybody out there, Dave from Nerdarchy, for Nerds by Nerds. And I got some of the Nerdarchy crew and some special guests today. And we are setting up for our OutKast and Urban Underdark campaign. So if everyone would like to introduce themselves, I'll start with Andrew Knapp. He's all the way to my left.
Hey guys, Andrew Knapp here. Go by the SR2 Joker on the YouTubes. Loshank's blog. Check out the OSG and the W3.
And next we have Kerry.
Hi folks, this is Carrie. They let me join them sometimes, but my camera's not working. Sorry about that.
And we got Natalie next.
Hi, I'm Natalie. I'm also known as Verby. I'm an all-around nerd, bit of a gamer, bit of a magic player, bit of a fighter, wayward raconteur. I don't know. Off we go.
Yes, so if you see Natalie on here with a black eye, it's not because her husband beats her. It's because she's actually a boxer.
Too soon? Always, Dave.
Always. Always.
Next up, Ryan.
Hey, I'm Ryan of Nerdarchy on the YouTubes. Find us there.
And last but not least.
Hey guys, I'm Nerdarchy's Ted. Glad to be a part of this game.
All right, so basically we just want to do a session 0, kind of like I kind of gave everyone a rundown in the event page of what this is about, and this is your chance to kind of put your characters' ideas out there, maybe mesh together as a party. I've got some things I'm kicking around that you guys can weigh in on. If you want to express player agency, this is the time and place to do it. If you feel that there's an organization you'd like to see in OutKast, a thing, a place, an NPC, anything like that. This is the time to bring that kind of stuff up. OutKast is our city in the Underdark. It is neutral, and it's a fairly good place for being the Underdark, which means it's not horrible. There is slavery in OutKast, but mostly it's just Warforged, so nobody really cares. And OutKast is ran by a rogue merchant house, clan of Dugars. So, who wants to go first? Some of you guys said you had some ideas.
All right. Well, I'll start off. I have a couple character ideas. I'm one that I like making sure that the components of a proper party are assembled. So I'm very amiable to adjusting. The two character options I have are a drow druid, who kind of still fears the whole loth situation, so is respectful of that whole situation, and therefore actually does use the spiders. I don't know what the dichotomy of that is. And my other suggestion, or my other idea, is a Sverniblin bard, who's kind of geared a little bit towards the combat end of things, but yet is actually a guild artisan, so he's proficient in making things as well.
Oh, I like that. I like them both. Hopefully you only go through one.
Well, there's the Underdark, so you never know.
Anything could happen. Oh, and to throw out there too, I don't know what level I want to start you guys at. Somewhere between 1 to 3. I kind of like 3 because in 5e it's like you're done your apprenticeship.
I'm a fan of that. I approve.
Yeah, I definitely vote for level 3. Level 1's way too dangerous, man.
Yes,
especially in the Underdark. Especially in the Underdark.
I don't want to be taken out by a house cat.
But what about
riding a house cat?
So let me chime in. I had a couple of ideas. I was listening to the breakdown of OutKast, and a couple of things came to mind. I haven't done anything in the Underdark in about 20 years, so it was like it's about time to revisit it. So you mentioned earlier that slavery does exist in this world, and I wanted to really play in that angle and, kind of have a discussion about it as we go along with character creation and whatnot. So I had an idea that at some point the character that I would play would be a former slave who has somehow escaped, gotten from another city in the Underdark, and made her way, or his way, I haven't decided yet, to OutKast, because that was the best opportunity for them. You talked earlier about having, a marine world. OutKast would maybe have sailors and whatnot, and I really keyed into pearls. And you'd mentioned coin as, currency, coin talks, and, I was starting to think along the lines, but do pearls persuade? So my idea is that I would play along a hill dwarf that was captured somehow earlier, not sure on the backstory, brought down into the Underdark, enslaved as a pearl diver in the area. We had talked about that. It formed, some sort of trade, pearl diving, managed to escape, got to OutKast, sat there, and basically developed some sort of small income from pearl diving around the area. Maybe gilded, something like that. Maybe a sailor to get the free passage, that sort of backstory. Then I thought, what can I do for class? Well, I was thinking Warlock. And let me tell you a little bit about the thought with Warlock. Underdark, populated with aboleths, not necessarily the most warm, cuddly creatures in the world, but there's something interesting about them, and that's that they're effectively immortal unless killed off or disease gets them, that sort of thing. So their politics are really long game politics. And what if my character were actually a bit of a servitor or thrall of an aboleth? This puts them into puts her into an interesting realm. But the aboleth has a specific agenda in the Underdark, slow-moving, long game. My character is basically pacted to an aboleth who might want influence in OutKast and might not have influence in OutKast, that sort of thing. So I was kind of toying around with that. How would you play a thrall or a servitor with a fair bit of free will, but certainly, a tool of somebody who is very strong, or a race that's very strong in the Underdark. So that's kind of what I was thinking, and I think a Warlock will kind of play into that, because you'd have the spells, you'd get the boons from your patron, in this case, a slimy guy with, definitely an agenda. So that's kind of what I've been kicking around.
I like it. That actually works really good, and it also makes sense too if you're coming from the slavery background that you're probably going to grasp at any rope that's thrown towards you.
Exactly. And so the one thing I was thinking, then you got the 3 different pact boons. You take pact of the chain, pact of the blade, pact of the tome. And I was kind of like, do you want the extra spells? Do you want a little critter in your own service? And I've been really kind of hanging on to pact of the chain. Just because it's poetic, it's symmetrical in my life, that kind of thing. I was a slave, I managed to escape. Now I've got my own little critter doing my bidding. Maybe this basically the familiar becomes like some sort of spirit creature that I use to find pearls for me. That sort of thing. Keeping on the down low, but that's kind of what I'm kicking around.
I like it. That has a good feel to it. It was done to me, so I do it to them.
It was done to me, but I don't know any better necessarily. This is the world I've known, and I was kind of thinking, what am I going to do for race? And I'm like, hill giant. I was taken, or not hill giant, rather. No, hill dwarf. I was kind of taken, brought under, and enslaved, and managed to escape. And I guess in my mind, OutKast is kind of a neutral city. It's a place you can go.
Where everybody knows your name?
Where everybody knows your name. Exactly.
Everybody knows your pseudonym, not your real name.
Right, there you go.
Yes, my name is Bob.
Norm.
Norm.
Definitely Norm.
I'll be Cliff.
Yeah, nice. Random trivia spout now at the bar. It's good.
There's got to be a bar in this place. If there isn't, I'm sad and I'm quitting.
There's a plurality of bars and opium dens.
Excellent.
You're in a bad neighborhood when there's a lot of churches and a lot of bars. This place has a lot of each.
Excellent. I kind of went, if I could jump in next, I kind of went Ted's route. I have two concepts in mind. I never really had a chance to explore alchemy. I started a character, we played 3 games, and then it died. So I would like to make things go boom, especially with pretty colors. The second thing I had in mind was my favorite character concept ever. That again, it was one of those things where we played for maybe 6 months and I didn't get a chance to finish it off. Was a good necromancer, because I know we'd mentioned a good or neutral party.
You want Grandma back? Let me help you.
No, it's not quite like that. It's more of a waste not, want not mentality. Like, there's dead bodies, let's use them. So basically, I was thinking maybe somebody from a noble family that was raised in this evil high class setting. Necromancy is something that runs through the family, but my heart just wasn't in it, and I ended up getting ostracized from the family somehow. And I want to use my necromancy for good. So that probably would not put me in well with the rest of the family. But like Ted said, I want to have a balanced party, so I could go with, the damage-dealing alchemist, or actually I'd really like to find a way to pull in some healing with the necromancy, so I might have to go dual class on that. But I'm flexible, so whatever the party needs, I could take that in either direction. I haven't done too much with backstory yet, though.
So when you're saying alchemist, are you talking like wizard evocation? Like what?
I want to chuck bombs at people.
Okay,
Don't
so that would basically be artifice, right? Right, Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in this edition, because 5th edition doesn't actually have an alchemist as of yet, but there is an artificer, which is a wizard tradition.
Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of creativity with rules, but yeah, if it takes magic or whatever, I want to throw vials at people and have them explode. So, however...
You can just be an evoker, and we can just use your somatics and spell components, and really just say you basically mix potions, and that's how you do your spells, which is not a big deal at all.
Yeah, no, it's going to take a little bit of creative role playing, but that's a concept I'd love to explore.
Okay, whichever one you want to go with is good by me. Do you have a race in mind for either?
No.
And you said you wanted to be noble?
Well, if we're going with the whole Underdark thing, if I'm going to go with the necromancer, then yeah, I'd probably just be a dark elf. But if I'm going to go with the alchemist, then I want to see what the rest of the party's into and find something that's going to make the group a little bit more interesting.
That's kind of what I was thinking is, you can basically just bend in any possible way. What do we need?
Oh, we can see you now.
You can?
Yeah.
Yes, you just appeared.
Yes, you're now here. Now, Natalie, go over to Carrie's place and fix her computer.
Do you know what it took? I had to go to Google and give them permissions to share.
Oh, interesting.
Uh-huh.
I'll try that afterwards, because the last time I tried to do something, I lost my entire internet.
She broke the interwebs.
My God, she's powerful.
Yes, she
Careful.
is. Tiny but fierce. So, alchemist, that would probably be I would do that as being like a guild merchant, possibly. Because they deal more with guild artisan, because they deal more with crafting.
That could be fun. I could get into that. All right, so I guess I'll pass the torch to the next person.
Next person.
Come
on,
you
Andrew.
if you want to go, Ryan.
Andrew,
Okay, man. Okay.
What do you got, Andrew? What do you
I want
got?
to hear some madness.
Here's my idea.
Yeah, I want to hear what Nap's got.
I want to be a deep gnome usurer. I want to be a loan shark. I want to give out
That's
money
awesome.
to the other poor denizens of OutKast and make a killing off of it. So my class would be, I'm thinking, cleric trickery domain.
Okay.
It's like think of like a D&D Ferengi.
Nice.
I want to work up wealth.
What are you thinking for a background?
Ooh, criminal. Definitely criminal.
Okay.
A smooth criminal?
Oh.
He's
I
been
don't know
hit
if
by.
he's a Ferengi. He's got to be a smooth talker.
It's true.
Lovely
Yeah.
ears.
I almost went rogue just so I could like get expertise and put it into diplomacy, but I have to go. Cleric for it. Trickery is just too awesome.
You got well, we're probably starting at 3rd level, so you got 3 levels to play with.
But isn't trickery? I mean, the whole thing of
Oh.
trickery is you just make somebody else better at doing roguey stuff. So.
Or it's got like charm and stuff though too.
Yeah.
Like you can charm and dominate other people, but yeah, I think it's mostly making other people better at stuff.
Yeah, well, it's only that one power that sucks. It's like, oh, I can make somebody else better. Everything else is good.
Yeah, I mean that's just clerics in general though too. But as from me playing in other games, I'm not like the greatest support cleric anyways, so I wouldn't suspect me to play it as like a purely support cleric.
Like I said, and that's the other thing. Like, if we're going to start at level 3, you guys got 3 levels to play with. And, I don't care if you go single class, if you take 3 different classes, whatever you guys want to do. It's your character, build it the way you want.
All right. So, I mean, I've been weighing a couple of options here myself. I'm thinking either my drunken paladin concept that I made as a character for a pre-gen for a game. Think Billy Bob Thornton from Bad Santa. Is one of the things I'm thinking about. Chaotic good though, or the other thing I'm thinking about is a swamp gnome barbarian from the surface.
That almost sounds like a bad name.
The swamp gnome barbarian.
Now appearing. Yeah, it's a post-punk band name. Swamp Gnome Barbarian.
Yeah. So he'd be kind of Cajun-y in his flavoring.
All right, so we've got a cleric for Andrew, a wizard for Carrie. Natalie, what were you leaning towards? Warlock?
Warlock, yeah, with the pacting.
So a paladin or a barbarian for Ryan, and my leading choice is a bard, followed by druid. It's quite a little bit of a mix. Bards can kind of be rounded out to do lots of different things. I was definitely looking, if I go that route, definitely the College of Valor. So I could be like support healing as well as support fighting.
Oh, we lost our carry.
So like, what does everybody feel about the composition of that?
I kind of look at my own options and say, as a warlock coming in, would I be doing direct damage? Do we need more damage in a party? Battlefield control is something I personally love. What kind of, wherever we need to fill it out. Again, you mentioned you got 3 levels to sculpt it into instead of path.
So what do you think, Andrew? What do you think, Ryan? This composition. I know I can trust your guys' opinions here.
I'm all about you being a cold-hearted killer, Ted.
What?
What?
Like you should be the martial prowess.
What? So you want me to go in a fightery barbarian direction?
I mean, that would be cool. It seems like the way the group's set up right now, we have a lot of auxiliary type of.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was thinking a little bit more direct damage. But who doesn't love a fightery barbarian?
Yeah, we need a tank, Ted. Go for it.
All right, so let's see here.
Well, both of Ryan's choices are tanks.
Pretty martially, yeah. Especially because if I go human paladin, he's definitely taking great weapon master and savage attacker, so he is literally all about dealing damage. So.
I totally missed everything Ryan said because I lost my voice again.
Bless you. Whoever sneezed.
Yes, bless you, strange person in the background.
What oath are you doing, Ryan?
Probably vengeance. It fits most with the character. So.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that. I feel your hate growing.
So I feel the bard kind of like fits in everywhere in this edition. Like they finally got it right.
Absolutely.
And then
It took a while, didn't it?
a few additions, but then if you go druid, it sounds like you're talking Circle of the Moon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if I go that way, I will absolutely do Circle of the Moon. So he would be using his wild shapes for combats, and then could again use spells for secondary healing and other interaction stuff.
Hey, we have
so
our
that's
reconnaissance person
pretty
then.
tanky.
Yeah.
I feel like as a bard, Ted, that you would somehow be connected to my character's criminal enterprise.
As a bard, I mean, I can definitely see it. And if you went with the Sverniblin cleric, my bard is a Sverniblin as well, and he's about profit as well. I originally designed this character with being a Duergar, and then I realized that they haven't released Duergar yet, so the next option was Sverniblin. So he's going to be combat-y, he's going to be, a mercantile, so I think our characters would be linked up in story. He actually performs, in combat, actually fights in the gladiatorial arena. I don't know what kind of reputation he would be able to have as, low level as we would, but I would hope I'd have some bit of prestige.
All right, well, check this out, Ted. What if the idea is we throw fights? We're like fucking taking books. We're putting you up against people, throwing fights, making a killing, getting
Andrew, you
losing.
could be his corner man, healing him up after bouts.
I'm a bard. I have healing as well, so I would absolutely have no problem with that.
You could be his Mickey.
It's just like, okay, well, I'm gonna get this much for the fight if I win, but if I throw the fight, it could go so much better because of the side bets that are handled by you.
Sounds lucrative. Sounds like lots of money.
Either one of those works. But if you do go with the druid, the giant spider is actually one of the best choices, in my opinion, for a low-level druid.
So what does the party feel? Do you guys have a preference? Either way, I can do support healing. Either way, I can do support combat. If I go with the Sverniblin, I've definitely got a linked story with Andrew. I don't know if anyone else is looking at playing a drow, but that guy would be basically drow, hermit, and druid.
So we wouldn't have anybody who's very scouty at this point in this juncture, because Paladin's going to want to slab on armor. So that'll be that.
Although it is the Underdark, and I don't know if you want to be the lone scout in the Underdark.
Yeah, I think the Underdark campaigns, you don't generally have someone off by themselves saying, "Oh, let me go see what's going on." You tend to stick together. You move more cautiously.
Hey, what's that light over there?
I'm sure it's fine. It's great. Go check it out.
Not a problem. Just don't worry about it.
I'll raise you from the dead when you come back.
Fantastic.
We need a couple more levels for that.
Revivify. It's a great spell.
We actually just used it last night.
Yeah, luckily we got to break it in. Great. Good stuff.
Is there a burn-in period for that spell?
A what?
A burn-in period.
Oh.
You've got to break it in for a little bit before it actually works.
So Andrew, I'm thinking you're gonna lean towards me, having the Sverniblin in your story. Carrie, what is your opinion, druid or bard?
If you go druid, then I'm gonna go wizard. If you go bard, then I'm gonna go healer. So I'm gonna base it off of you.
Okay. What do you feel, Natalie?
I like a toolboxy bard. I gotta kind of admit that.
All right, and what about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm feeling the bard concept as well.
All right, awesome. So, all right, so that locks in, and that means you're gonna do the necromancer,
Sounds
Carrie.
good. That'll be
So,
fun.
does that mean you're actually doing a cleric necromancer?
Yes.
So you're gonna do a cleric with the was it the death domain?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll have 2 clerics and a bard. So we'll have a decent amount of healing to throw around if need be. And then Natalie's looking at a warlock, and Ryan, are you looking at a paladin or a barbarian?
Hmm. I'm just trying to think of, like, this paladin isn't really, like, he's chaotic good, so he's not super, like, LG paladin. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering how not cool he would be with the whole animating dead thing. It depends. How are we defining necromancy? Is it keeping people from going on to their afterlife, or is it just animation?
It's animation. It's using the corpse. I'm not going to stop their spirit from going on. I'm a good character. I'm not wasteful. You know, if you have this hump of flesh lying around, you might as well use it for something.
She's single stream recycling. Let's go.
Exactly. It's totally recycling. It's all about the environment. You know, resources are scarce down here. You got to use what you have.
Exactly. I haven't found a tanning booth in gotta be several months.
So, according to Andrew, you guys are all going to be basically Jehovah's Witnesses.
That's right. Have you accepted the light and truth of the Beggar King today?
Well, is it the Beggar King or Gilda?
The Beggar King.
All right, so Paladin it is.
Have you heard the good news about Vecna?
So, now we'll go down the line. Andrew, in the city of OutKast, is there anything there that you want to see there or you feel needs to be there?
Some type of public form of execution.
Okay.
Ooh. So who would control that government? If you look at OutKast as a pretty neutral city, who would make those determinations?
So here's the concept. While there is a rule of law that can be superseded by coin, and when that doesn't happen, the law is brutal. So that actually, the idea of public execution actually fits right in with the theme.
What if you did it like this, Dave? You have public executions combined with an auction. People can show up, and there's a minimum value, and they can buy the person and force them into labor camps and other forms of forced servitude.
Oh,
so it's like a double edge, like a slave market and an execution.
That's kind of how we figured it worked. Like if you can't pay your fines, you end up getting sold on the block. But that could be an interesting aspect where someone can intercede and basically pay for your freedom in order to own, well, not for your freedom, but to own you instead of the execution.
I would say that it wouldn't start off as a nominal fee. Like if you have fines, the bidding would start at whatever your fine is, and then the government, the Duergar, wind up just profiting further if multiple parties are interested. I think that would fit more with the theme of the city. For those who haven't actually watched the video on OutKast, the whole idea is coin spends. So it doesn't matter what's going on. The coin really does change whatever you want. You want to do something, you can have it happen if you've got enough money.
Now, but here's the other thing. Say like there's an offended party, they can outbid the person to actually have the execution continue.
See the justice done.
Yeah. So that absolutely works.
It's like eBay with executions and slavery.
Yes.
Exactly.
You know what? Can we add a twist to that? So this is some really dark topics here, right? You're basically buying people. People could be accused of crimes and go to trial or trial for execution simply because somebody wanted a skill set as a slave. So if I knew you were a really good goldsmith, I'd accuse you of something to get your head on the block so I could buy you. If you were a really good thief, I'd accuse you of something to get your head on the block so I would buy you. And that's basically, one way how somebody could manipulate the system. Go ahead.
I would still feel that they would still investigate and find evidence before fines and things were levied against you. Right, Dave?
Yeah, there's still going to be a rule of law, so it's not enough to just accuse them and that's it. There actually has to be some evidence or something. Now, but
not yet, Dave.
Again,
not yet, Dave. Give us time.
Yeah,
Give us time.
if you're creative, you can make that happen.
Yes, you can manipulate the situation, manipulate the evidence, so that someone who didn't do something, has the proof against them, and then get that situation, set up. But it takes work.
There's an entire guild that just manufactures the evidence you need for that, for the proper fate.
And it's probably pretty high.
Yeah, I would say there's a thieves guild that specializes in that.
What if the Thieves Guild makes picture frames and they call them the framers? Their front is they just frame stuff.
Yeah, they're like a gallery, like a place that makes his frames for galleries or things like that.
But they're probably their specialty is extortion, and that just happens to be one of the things that they do.
If I was a necromancer in the party, I'd be bidding on fresh corpses.
Absolutely.
Actually, you could just get them for free. They're not doing anything with them after they're done.
We're the Undertakers. Yeah, Undertakers.
Undead takers.
Well, that's what we call ourselves amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
What about you, Carrie? Is there anything you would like to see in OutKast?
I don't have anything in mind yet.
Okay, we'll leave it open. Natalie?
A thriving arts culture, actually, and let me tell you what I'm thinking of. I don't want to necessarily play into standard Underdark tropes. OutKast has the ability to kind of be a different sort of place. It's not any of the other major cities. It's not Glimmersea or anything like that. It has the potential to allow maybe creativity to flourish. And that kind of gives a lot of story hooks too. If you add a stronger arts culture, maybe that's how people make their living. People who might have escaped from somewhere else. Maybe it allows petty theft to happen. In theaters, that sort of thing. Just a little bit different.
That works. I mean, it is like the freest place in Underdark. Relatively kind of safe for a Lankmar type city. There could absolutely be a thriving art culture. And nothing isn't taboo. So even some things that are that is considered maybe illegal other places is actually art here. And then there's also they do a lot of business in seafood, and so there's a lot of coral and shells.
Pearls, that's basically where I'm saying I got my background in Pearl Diver Guild.
Yes, and that's actually what they employ the Warforge for in OutKast. You were probably doing it somewhere else as a slave. You come here, you can do it independently, but it is a little bit more difficult here because of the competition.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't need to breathe.
Yeah.
They kind of cheat.
I was kind of thinking about that. It's sort of like, well, if I'm the thrall of an aboleth, generally, there's kind of a voice dictating a little bit with an agenda of sorts. What kind of not able to breathe or not needing to breathe sort of abilities would I get? Could I eventually get them? I don't know.
Well, we could definitely do something with if you wanted to trade out an invocation for water breathing.
Yeah.
So what about you, Ryan?
So with Rask the Vagabond, his whole deal is he's kind of on the lam for cutting down the superior officer, and being at the bottom of the Underdark was about as far away from all that as could possibly be. So he just needs a place where he can find himself at the bottom of Flagon, and when he runs out of coin to do so, he then has people willing to pay for the services of his sword. So then he can then find himself at the bottom of a flagon some more.
Okay, well, there's definitely going to be fighting pits as well in OutKast. Not necessarily, not full-on Coliseum-style gladiatorial combat, but, there's definitely some places where you can punch someone's lights out for some coin.
So he probably wouldn't do it for sport, more of like for mercenary purposes.
Okay.
If there's any of that. I'm sure there'd be outings or something like that to go on.
Definitely, there's caravans, there's sailing ships.
What I'd love to see is fight pits for mages, not just, your martial characters, but, mages going on for betting, that sort of thing. UFC of mages.
Yeah.
Wizards, spellcasting classes.
You know what? It's now a thing.
Excellent.
There will be at least one of these dens where that's the specialty, where two mages go at it.
Whether they're given a block of stone and told to convert it, whether they, basically are attacking one another, something like that. Because, whenever you think of fight pits, you never engage your spellcasters. Oh, unless, you've got them subtly healing on the side.
You could actually have that, those type of, pits where like they're literally locked in place and they're unable to move towards their opponent.
Well, maybe there's just different types of matches, depending. Yeah. They're probably always making stuff up to make it more interesting.
I think an anything ghost pit would be really interesting.
Ooh.
Well, I think there's probably going to be a variety, so that's definitely going to be in the mix somewhere.
Carrie, you said anything goes or anything ghost? Because I was, keying off ghost. All of a sudden, I'm thinking, skeleton v skeleton, skeleton v zombie, that sort of thing.
Oh, that would be fun too.
Rock'em sock'em
no,
zombies.
Anything goes. Like your mage versus my paladin. So, see what happens.
I'm thinking it's going to be bad when once the paladin closes if the mage isn't high enough level.
But you know what? If you're putting your slaves into a fighting pit, who cares? It's all about the betting.
It is all about the betting.
Or the base.
Or the base, yeah, that's true too.
But not the trouble.
I thought it was all about the pentiums.
Hear that silence there, Ted?
Can you feel the silence? So there will be the mage fighting pit. I think a lot of the pits are anything goes, and there may be a Rock'em Sock'em zombie pit.
Yeah, I love Rock'em Sock'em Zombie. In the blue corner, dead for 40 days.
Dead Fred. Dead Fred.
I want to be part of this. I'm so part of that.
And Jacques Skellington.
Nice. This way you don't have to worry about a cut man. You just get a new fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just collect them from the live fighting pits.
Yeah, from the last bout. There you go.
Dark, dark places, Carrie. Dark, dark places.
Yeah. You know what would be fun would be a place, it would probably be hidden, but it's got to be findable. A place for bounty hunters to basically collect their assignments and return their bounties. That would definitely be something I would think would be in existence there.
That actually just may be part of their legal system, a part of their watch, the law, where they just use independence to track people down.
That would make sense.
How would you structure? I really like the idea of justice by bounty hunter. Because your OutKast is a neutral city. Anybody can operate there. There's no boundaries in that regard. How would you adjudicate that? Like a ruling class of some sort, sworn servants to the law. How would laws be developed?
They could all be freelancers that just take up the contracts. It's just like freelance jobs. It's basically a job board or something like that.
This is
I
like
think
Wild West justice. You just hang up a most wanted poster with the reward on it and wanted dead or alive.
that could be part of it. I think me and Ted were talking about in the video of actually like almost an office or class of citizen that is basically not, it's not your standard watch, but they're kind of above that. Like they know all the laws, they're memorized, and they can be judge, jury, and executioner on the spot. The total like judicator type of
Maybe a deputy
individual.
class.
So like all the watch would basically answer to them. Bounty hunters would bring their bounties to these guys, and there wouldn't be nearly as many of them. It'd be like a very highly specialized profession.
What if they're Warforged, like RoboCop style?
Ooh, I like this idea.
Could do that.
Yeah, I was thinking that off of the freelancing model, my character might collect some bounties, but not others. He's kind of got moral qualms with certain types of things, like slavery. Like he probably wouldn't go hunt down escaped slaves, but if somebody actually did an egregious crime, then he would step up and earn some coin.
Plot
Hey,
twist: the Warforged slaves are the law.
Dave, what if these judicators? What if they had like their primary outer coatings replaced with the pearl essence, so that they could be easily identified?
Yeah, and it also could be like an elevation of status for them from being, the pearl diving slaves or whatever other kind of slave they were to this position of where they actually, become a citizen of OutKast as opposed to property. And part of that transition is they get the spiffy upgrade.
Oh no, I love it. I think it's fantastic.
Oh, how do you define a citizen?
Service. Sorry. I went Heinlein there.
Well, yeah, it would be service, I guess, whether you're born there. I guess I don't know how citizenship would work in any other medieval setting.
Because this seems to me like a place where people are coming and going all the time. Citizenship might be a very fluid concept.
Or a very powerful one.
Both of those could be true. And it would be a very fluid place where where there's transients all the time. People go there to run away. People go there to find things. And like, another city's black market is like the normal market here. Is kind of the idea.
And really, city funding is happening on the execution bids. It's a revenue base.
Well, not only that too. Like a lot of the pearl and the pearl essence that's being collected is actually being collected by the city, by the ruling class.
And since this is really the only stable market to get the pearl essence, they've got wealth.
What's the connection between the city and the rest of the Underdark? How do they see it?
Is it a threat? That's a really, good question, Carrie.
I guess in the Underdark, every city is a threat in the sense that you're all competing for a limited number of resources. The true test of time, though, is whether or not you can survive. And the fact that OutKast is still there means that they've created a defensible position, and their army has been able to drive off any potential invaders. And they don't seem to be in short supply of Warforged soldiers that they don't mind expending. And we lost Carrie again.
Carrie.
And it was her question, too.
Yeah. Very bouncy.
Somebody tie her down.
Hey now, this is a family show.
Let me raise this eyebrow at you. One of the things, actually, she brings up a really good point. Is there outside threats? Is it a fully autonomous polis?
I was thinking down the way, and I'm also kind of thinking that perhaps it's where you escape from. There's a subterranean lizard man community that also is kind of thriving and living off the waterway. There is also a colony of or clan of Fomorians, who the only saving grace is the fact that the water keeps them away.
Oh, okay.
So they have not been able to effectively reach OutKast. And then there's also going to be a community of Myconids in the vicinity as well.
But they're only fun guys.
They're the fun guys. That's it.
So does this underground sea or subterranean sea, does that have some kind of connection, like, say, Skullport did in Forgotten Realms? To the above?
Yeah, actually, the idea is... So I have an idea that actually leads to a place that... where there's waterfalls that actually fall from above, and there's a lock system that's been built to actually like an elevator for ships to get them back up to the surface. And matter of fact, it is the only way to get to the surface.
Who controls the elevator?
That would be OutKast.
Ooh.
So it's one of the outposts. So I'm trying to think in my head how it actually works, and so it kind of makes sense without being pure magic.
Water driven, water wheel.
But I kind of feel like it's almost this lock system that forms like a spiral staircase up to the surface world, and maybe ends in a log flume. I don't know.
All of a sudden, you hear the theme music from Splash Mountain. You're in the wrong place.
Yeah. So that was kind of the idea I had for that, Andrew. So I guess the other question is, okay, so you guys are going to start at 3rd level. Point buy or stat array is what I prefer. I know Andrew loves the roll because he can get 4s and 3s.
Hey, I'm all for straight 3d6 if that's what people want to do.
I know you are.
I actually really like having a bad.
I can't
like
support
having a
my
challenge.
head. I can't support my head. I have a strength of 3.
I love having a bad stat. It's a challenge to overcome.
Well, what do you consider a bad stat? Eight's not low enough for you?
You know what? I don't even know what the system is yet, so I have to read up on it.
So,
Hey, I had that campaign character, Ted, that had a 4 constitution.
What was his name? Tissue paper?
Basically, I mean, he was a flame-based wizard, but his entire body had 3rd-degree burns from top to bottom, and he had to be carried around by an assistant.
Oh God.
Raceland much?
no, Raceland sounds like an improvement.
It reminds me of the Doctor Who character. Was it Cassandra or something like The Last Human? Moisturize me.
Oh yeah. I'm actually binge watching on that right now.
Yeah, he spent a lot of time applying lotions and alloys.
Nice.
Lotions and alloys. I love it.
Oh dear.
So, yeah, pretty much. I think we got a good starting point. You guys can decide if you want to know each other beforehand. Obviously, if you're 3rd level, you have history. Or whether
Can I jump in on this?
you absolutely can.
I love having at least some type of connection, because otherwise, in an environment like this, how could we possibly trust each other? And otherwise, we're just going to be at each other's throats. So some type of at least tentative connection, even if it's a 6 degrees of separation connection between the first person and the last person.
Who's our
I think
Kevin
there
Bacon?
should be something.
I was just going to say, we know this guy named Kevin.
Yeah. And his name is delicious.
And he loves the arts in Philadelphia.
Well, if anyone is linked to any of the fighting pits, like that's where my character is going to spend some time, and as we've already established, Andrew and I's character are going to be linked up for betting and fixing fights and that kind of stuff.
I'm probably buying the leftovers.
Oh, that's actually brilliant.
Okay, that works.
As a background, I'm thinking of taking Sailor. And not terribly exciting in this world, but yeah, that would bring me in betting.
Okay. So a purveyor, a purchaser, partakers.
And then additionally, my character, when I'm not fighting, I actually am a crafter. I have to figure out, what type of tool proficiencies I'm gonna have. But I believe I have multiple. So we've got that option as well.
Okay, I think it'll be easy enough to link you guys together. And we got enough to start with. So the next step is, I guess we'll post up the event. We'll figure out when we can all get our schedules in sync.
Do we resolve how we're actually doing stats? Because I had to get back in. We don't know yet?
Point buyer array is what I want to go with.
Okay.
Is that 27 point buy, Dave?
Yeah, it's 27. Yep. And then over the next week or two, if you guys just get me your character sheets for me to take a look at, any details you want me to know.
For my background criminal, I'll probably change it a little bit because I want it to be like a white collar crime.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Fraud.
Yeah, embezzlement from one of those underwater mining companies.
So I guess the question too is did you flee the Deep Gnome city, and that's why you're an outcast?
I mean, yeah, that sounds feasible to me.
And maybe whatever connection you and Ted can decide that you have with each other, he decided to go with you.
You were a second son, and your parents wanted you to be a cleric.
And he was. There is. Ryan's character, he's already established that basically he's fled as far as he can from the surface world and civilization up there. Natalie, you fled slavery, so that's what brought you to OutKast. That's easy enough. And then we have
playing my noble family in whatever large drow city there would be.
Okay, so you're gonna go with Drow?
Yes.
Perfect.
The question is, though, are they hunting me, or do they not care? Are they just embarrassed and they're happy that I'm gone? Or are they embarrassed and they want to make sure nobody finds out?
Or do you not know?
Or do I not know? Yeah.
I'll leave it up to your discretion. What do you want? Whatever you want it to be.
Let me think about that, because that could be fun in either direction.
So when I'm boozing it up on the street corners, I'll probably do this sort of drunken street prophet thing too, just preaching to all passersby. Maybe outside of the gladiatorial arena as well, just kind of proselytizing to whoever will listen about the wonders of the Beggar King and about the smelted copper crown.
So, basically, unless anyone else has anything to add, I'm going to leave it at that. I'll be in contact with all of you guys on Facebook. We'll figure out when we're going to actually play the first session. Guys, get me your characters, any details you want me to know, and we'll take it from there.
Fantastic.
Sounds
Looking
like a
forward to it.
plan.
I think we got a decent group to work with, and I'm out just in time for Game of Thrones.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Oh, go.
Good timing.
Yeah. So thanks everybody, and everybody. We've had a couple dozen people watching the whole time. Thanks everybody for watching, and until next time.
Stay nerdy.
Thanks for watching. Looking forward to the game.